Okay, how you guys doing? Rules for thee, but not for me. So what am I talking about? Well, we have seen typical of the Democrat leadership across the country, that a lot of these power-hungry Democrats are violating their own restrictions, violating their own COVID restrictions, right? They're getting busted at parties, dinners, other gatherings, and without masks and no social distancing, and it's terrible. So this is in regards to the last city council meeting on Tuesday, this past Tuesday. If you didn't catch the first video, it's 5 minutes. It's on the YouTubes, and you can watch it. It is a little comical, but not really, especially considering that it was just one of at least 3 or 4 open meeting laws that were violated during this meeting, which, I'm done giving them a pass. Like I like to just let people know what's going on. But at this point, I think it's time to start actually writing the Attorney General and making these violations known. And hopefully some kind of investigation ensues, because this is absolutely ridiculous already. Like, this is stupid. Well, that first violation, that call to the public, community member asked a question of an item they wanted clarification on what the item was about, and she couldn't get it. She couldn't get it from anybody on the council. It was embarrassing. So of course I'm going to make sure I share it everywhere. So not only that, and that 2 city council members were able to reach out to citizens privately and let them know, hey, this is what it's about. That is not the point. It needs to happen in public at the meeting. They are obligated to let the public know what they're voting on. Okay, so there was that. And then just before the call to public, the mayor goes through his spiel about how the forum shall not be used to make personal attacks against any city council members or city employees.
This forum shall not be used for making personal attacks or discussing personal issues. It's directed to any individual member of the city council or any other city employee.
20 minutes later, he goes on to rebuke you people, everyone out there, that you are not responsible enough to make your own decisions based on the information they've been shoving down our throats the past 10 months about COVID. Like, we don't know what's going on with COVID. Like, we don't know what the risks are. Like, we don't know that there's a 99.97% survival rate. Like, we can't make our own decisions based on that.
I think that anybody that would think about it would realize that by allowing that to happen is being reckless and is endangering the citizens of Tombstone and our visitors. I will tell you that we will not support or endorse any activity that's going to draw a crowd. And the marshal has been informed of this already. If you're going to draw a crowd of 50 or more people, you have to have a plan. And if you don't have a plan, the crowd will be dispersed. So I think it's important that the kids have Santa in the park, and we're going to try to do everything possible to make it as safe as possible for these kids. But I will tell you that if it appears that things are getting out of hand, we're not going to let it continue. So I don't, I just don't understand a lot of people's thinking, and you know who I'm talking about. So.
Really? So we can't use this forum to personally attack city employees, but you can use the forum to personally single me out and call me reckless and tell me that I'm endangering the public. Well, then I guess Benson and Huachuca City must be reckless and endangering the public too, because they went through with their parades. Oh, maybe it was because somebody did their due diligence and filed the proper paperwork. But somebody here decided not to do that. They dropped the ball, and instead, they just canceled. They just pulled the permits because it's dangerous. That's what they said. They left out the fact that there is a mitigation strategy that could be used. Moments after approving a Santa in the Park event. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm glad they approved Santa in the Park. I think they should not restrict any events, but this is where we are now in 2020. Moments after they approved Santa in the park that is contained in an area that is contained with walls and gates and fences, but not an event, but you rebuked an event and you rebuked the people who you call them reckless and endangering citizens of an event that's on the street with plenty of room for people to move around as they please, as they choose. If they feel like it's dangerous, they know. It's not like we don't know. Does this make any sense, people? Come on now. Does this make any sense? This doesn't make any sense at all. And this is what I'm talking about. Rules for thee, but not for me, because I make the rules, right? Because they make the rules, so they don't have to follow the rules. But the real point of it is not just rules for thee and rules for thee, but not for me. The real point of this is none of this makes sense. None of these COVID restrictions make sense. According to the data, I'm looking at the same data, and it's not just me. There are doctors and scientists that agree that, hey, we don't need to be responding to this like we are. This is actually getting ridiculous. Actually, the World Health Organization, they're one of the experts, right? Gotta listen to the experts. They're one of the experts that said, you know what? Shutdowns and lockdowns is actually not good for your health. Yeah, isn't that crazy? So I'm looking at the same data, but I'm looking at the same data with a critical mind, critical thought, logical mind, and they're using it to manipulate it, to fearmonger you, to convince you that you cannot make decisions for yourself. You cannot make decisions for you or your family, and that you are reckless for thinking that you have a 99.97% chance of survival if you contract this thing, and you just have to wait for the government to give you permission to live your life the way you want to. Don't you dare go and say anything about the city council at a call to the public or personal attack on a city employee, but the mayor can get up there and use the forum to single out a community member. And I was just sitting there. I didn't do anything. He points right to me. And by the way, let me make one thing clear, okay? I did not organize this event, okay? I was invited to a meeting about the canceled light parade. That's all it was. And then when I got there, late by the way, because that's how I do, when I got there, they had already decided that they were going to do a Christmas cruise, and it was going to come. Well, they hadn't called a Christmas cruise yet, but they had already decided that people were going to line up on 12th and Allen and cruise down to 6th Street and have a little cruise, a little protest that way, a very merry protest, I like to call it. Okay? I did not plan this. All I did was promote it. But I'm not going to tell you who planned it. I'm not going to tell you who's behind it. And I will take the heat if someone needs to take the heat for it, because I believe in this. Because we have to start standing our ground, because this is ridiculous how we have to ask the city, we have to ask our government permission on how to behave, when I can hug somebody, can I have so many people over for Christmas. This is getting stupid. And the problem is we've let this happen. Anyone that complains about the way things are now, we have let this happen because you're too afraid to stand your ground. Because you look at people like me and you're like, oh, that's a pot stirrer. I don't want to be a pot stirrer. Shut up. You look stupid. You look fucking stupid. You look stupid. But you had an opportunity to say something about it, but you didn't. You let it happen. You need to stand your ground. You need to stand your ground. That's all. You guys have a wonderful night. Bye.